Welcome back, boys and girls. So, today we are going to be working with one of my absolute favorite stories that I get to teach you and read to you. And I decided that for this story, we're going to do a fun craft afterwards. If you don't remember what a craft is, it's kind of like an art project. So I hopefully you're able to do that with the things that you have at home. Well, let's go ahead and start. This story is a fiction story, which means it's a make believe story, but it's a great story to read. It's called The Shoemaker and the Elves. This time it is retold by Brenda Parks and it's illustrated by Julia Patton. Let's make a prediction about what the story is. If you recall, a prediction is a guess that we make, and we can use the pictures to help make that prediction. So I see elves. I know that they're elves because of their size, their little hat, and their little ears. And I'm going to make a guess again using the picture. So in the picture, they are holding some sewing tools like this here, and then this also. And then this little guy here has a hammer. I'm not really sure what that is, but using the title, I'm guessing it is a shoe because it says The Shoemaker and the Elves. So let's get started with the story. The Shoemaker and the Elves. It says, how can elves help a shoemaker? Not really sure. Once upon a time, a shoemaker lived with his wife in a little village. Although the shoemaker worked hard, he could not earn enough money to make a living. One day he found that all he had left in the shop was enough leather to make one pair of shoes. That night the shoemaker cut out the leather and set it on his workbench. Then he went to bed. So we can see here that the shoemaker and his wife are very poor. It says that they don't have enough money to make a living, so that means to have a nice life and maybe pay their bills and buy food and groceries. And then here he says he has enough leather for one pair, and leather is a material that is used to make shoes and bags and things like that. So he cut everything out and he has it ready to start building. The next morning, the shoemaker was amazed to find a perfect pair of shoes on his workbench. He called his wife. Wife, wife, come quick and see. Look what someone made for me. The shoes were so beautiful that a customer paid extra for them. Now the shoemaker could buy enough leather to make 2 pairs of shoes. That night, the shoemaker cut out the leather and set it on his workbench. The next morning, there on his bench were 2 perfect pairs of shoes. Once again, the shoemaker sold the beautiful shoes quickly. That night, the shoemaker cut out enough leather to make 4 pairs of shoes. Just as before, he set it on his workbench, ready to make the shoes the next day. Just as before, he went to bed. So as you can see, boys and girls, there is like some type of mystery, some type of magic that's going on. The shoemaker went from having very little to now being very successful in making and selling his shoes. Well, he's not making them, something magical is going on. But the customers are very happy and they are buying them for extra money, which means that he is being very successful right now. And he's probably able to make a good living. The next morning, just as before, there on his bench were 4 pairs of perfect shoes. Once again, the shoemaker sold the beautiful shoes quickly. Day after day, the shoemaker awoke to find wonderful shoes on his bench. Shoes for work, shoes for play, shoes to dance the night away. Day after day, more and more people came to buy the beautiful shoes. One night, the shoemaker said to his wife, "We must find out who is making the shoes." So after supper, they hid in a cupboard in the back of the store and watched. Just as the clock struck 12, 2 tiny elves danced into the room. They hopped up on the bench and began to work. As they work, they sing, "We sleep by day, at night we sew, in and out our needles go. Stitch, stitch, stitching small and neat, lovely shoes for lucky feet." As daybreak came, the elves danced out the window and disappeared. "How can we ever thank them?" wondered the shoemaker. "We have made a lot of money because of them." "Let's make them some new clothes," said the wife. The shoemaker and his wife bought the smoothest silks and softest satins. They made the elves new suits. On New Year's Eve, they put 2 little sets of clothes on the bench, and they hid in the cupboard and watched. When the little elves saw the new clothes, they danced and laughed and clapped their hands. They put on the clothes and twirled around. Then they danced out the window and were gone forever. The shoemaker and his wife were never poor again, but they never forgot the elves that helped them. Every New Year's Eve, they put out a new set of clothes for the elves. And every New Year's Day, the clothes are gone. The end. So you can see here their new clothes, their new outfits, and they look so cute, and most importantly, they look very happy. And in my opinion, I feel like they earned it. So let's go ahead and move on to our little project. Let me fix it so you guys can see this a little better. Okay. So today what we're going to do is answer a few questions, and then we're going to be working on the craft. So for the shoemaker and the elves, it says, the questions are, how can we show gratitude towards the elves? But before we answer that, we need to figure out what is gratitude. So gratitude is when you are grateful for something, when you are appreciative of something, when you are thankful for something. So the shoemakers were thankful and grateful and appreciative of the work that the elves did. If it wasn't for the elves' help, for their little magic, then the shoemaker was not going to be able to have his job anymore and be able to make money for him and his wife to have a nice life. So it says here, let's make a note and give them a gift. Well, friends, I have here a little note that you can make on your little journal. So it says, Dear Elves, read it with me. Thank you for helping the shoemakers. We made you something special too. Love, and then you put your name. And if you look here, there's little clothes. So if we were in class, I would give you some construction paper, and I would help you make little outfits for the elves. So I want you guys to go ahead and try to do that. But what I want you to do, if you have this, is make a little letter for the elves. You can use what I have on the screen. And then if you have construction paper, plain white paper, or any type of paper, you can make two little outfits for the elves. I am excited to see your creations. I think that the elves deserve it because they helped the shoemakers. So, on Friday, which is tomorrow, I will be posting my shout out. I will be giving a shout out on YouTube. And I will be giving a shout out on Class Dojo on the school story. If you want to be on there, show me your project. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, friends.